Hi everyone, and welcome back to another movement session. Let us begin. So you're going to find yourself standing upright, having a little bit of space, being barefoot ideally. Limbs are very soft, knees are very soft, your posture is sort of sinking down into the floor with each exhale, but you're just allowing yourself to stay upright as much as you can. So think about it, trying to find least amount of effort to stay upright without collapsing down. So some tension required, but keep it soft as much as you can. You're going to allow yourself to close your eyes. And then what we're going to do, 6 very slow and controlled inhales through your nose and exhales either through your nose or through your mouth as you prefer. And with each exhale, think about you sinking and melting away any residual tension into the floor while staying upright. So in your own time, 6 times, let's go. And when you finish, you're going to gently allow yourself to open your eyes. You're going to continue. So making sure you have a little bit more space around yourself. Feet comfortably apart. So think about gentle weight shift from side to side. All the priorities are going to be on our torso. While keeping this upright posture, we're going to start with a gentle twist from side to side, arms relaxed. Every time, very gently starting to go further, twisting further and further behind. Arms relaxed, feet are grounded. As you're getting more and more comfortable, you're going to start gradually, notice this, I'm lifting my arms, allowing my arms to lift even more, sort of float for a moment of suspension in the air before coming back. And then even higher. Try not to create too much tension. And then descending again. And transitioning into similar, but now we're going to try to create tension here. So notice this 90-degree position of the elbow flexion and having a little bit more rigidity now. So we're going to keep switching between sort of rigid tension and softness. As for proper function, you want to have both. So now we're just going from side to side. Let's starting to lower down. Still keeping some tension. And starting to rise. From this mid position, changing fist facing up. Continuing with rotation. And descending. Beautiful. Slowly come to a stop. Awesome. Let us continue. So for the next drill, you're going to gradually weight shift towards your right leg. You're going to keep your right foot stuck to the floor. You're going to keep your right knee soft and left leg off the floor. Just going to spend a few moments balancing on this leg. Nothing crazy for now. Try to keep your breath nice and relaxed. Arms relaxed. Right knee is soft, slightly bent, but controlled. Okay, controlling your balance. If this feels okay, you can straight away starting to move gently your left leg across the space. And again, nothing too crazy. Just gently testing, exploring your balance, twisting. If you lose your balance, just allow yourself safely to sort of reset, step back, and continue. Still stay on your right leg. And switch, same thing, left leg. Start slowly. Check your baseline. And if it feels okay, start moving that leg across the space. Nothing too complex for now. We're going to add complexity later. So we're just checking in. Notice how much you're using your arms, if at all. And gently come to a stop. You're gonna come back to legs. Now you're gonna move on. So you're gonna go in a slightly wider stance. It doesn't need to be necessarily horse stance. Just make sure you have a stable base of support, okay? We're gonna have one specific task now. So today we're gonna sort of keep hopping. I'm gonna sort of throw ideas at you. And really make sure, try to challenge yourself. Even if you struggle with some of those, you can always come back and practice them more. So feet are grounded, hips are slightly down. You don't need to go super low. The task here, while keeping this upright posture, the task here is to think about holding the invisible ball. So let's first try to visualize that. So holding your hands, not too close, not too far, although that's something you can play with afterwards. So just sort of visualizing ball of light, of yellow light. And you're just sort of twisting your arms, trying to sort of figure out the shape, feeling the ball. Which basically now then leads us to the next task. While staying for now in this position, so think about how far, as I'm twisting, if you can see my arms in one direction, in opposite directions. So how far can I twist in each direction? Okay? So twisting in, twisting out. Notice as you're going further and further, you're going to start engaging your shoulders more and more, lifting your elbows. And then if this feels okay, you're going to start changing the orientation of the ball. So you can go sideways as you keep twisting in, twisting out. Keeping it close to your chest. And then moving further. So adding a little bit of dynamic, spiral dynamic, as you move through this position. So excellent shoulder work while staying in this lovely position with your legs. And start to move as you wish, going close to the floor while keeping your feet grounded, twisting, untwisting. creating, supporting the ball. Going further off my center. Maybe arching a little bit. Maybe for a few moments stopping with the twisting and just adding this support. And then starting again. It's a very simple motion, but when you think of it, there's so many things happening in the shoulder and your spine. If you just allow yourself a little bit of imagination. So starting to twist the ball in various positions. In between your legs, further down on the floor, further up. And come to a stop. Beautiful. Let us move on. Okay, so the next drill, we're going to utilize the wall. A little bit of free space on the wall. And you're going to have a couple of ground rules. So feet comfortably apart, not too far, not too close. You don't want to be too close to the wall, which is going to be too easy, and not too far, which is going to be too hard. The idea here is, if you're staying sideways, which we're going to do, so chest facing towards the free space. If your right shoulder is facing the wall, you're going to use your left arm to reach the wall. There's going to be a few patterns, let's say 3 main patterns. So going into side bend, reaching over, going from the front while keeping your feet stuck to the floor, but you can reorganize your hips and weight shift, and then going behind, either externally rotating your shoulder or internally rotating your shoulder, trying to look where you reach, okay? So we're gonna do 5 times each side. So first one side, then other side. Each 1 rep means you're going tap over, front and behind. So that's 1 rep. In your own time, prepare, and let's give it a go. So over. You can change level as well. The last one. Beautiful. Same thing, other side. So prepare. So you have your limitation, but you can also move further when you get comfortable. You can move your hips. Remember, you have your limitations, and you have 3 basic patterns, but you can move anywhere in between. Let's give it a go. Beautiful. And after 5 reps each side, you can come to a stop. There's something that you can play with, also changing the orientation where you're facing, changing orientation of your feet, and so on. It's a very juicy way to sort of work on torsion, rotation, shoulder mobility, even hip mobility, knee flexibility in a bit more non-linear way. Okay, so let us move on. Okay, so in our next drill, we're gonna combine a couple of elements. Rolling forward, so spinal waves, head leading, rolling the spine, forward fold, as you're going into the squat. So that's the step number one. Also, when you go off the floor, it's gonna be reversed. So sort of head leading as well, hips first, then head rolling the spine up. Okay, so maybe just get comfortable first with that pattern. So head leading, rolling the spine all the way into the squat, and then reverse, hips up, rolling your spine all the way up. Maybe already changing the orientation a little bit rather than just going in this linear fashion, maybe looking slightly towards one side, into the squat, back up from the other side. And then head leading to this side, down, rolling, squat, other side, all the way. One more time, rolling down, rolling up. Beautiful. So we're going to combine this with the second progression, which is going to be from the squat, how to enter the floor. And this is one of the great ways you can sort of start your way. You can go into the rabbit hole of floor work. But from the squat, how would you enter the floor? So you can pick a side. If I'm going to the left side, I'm first going to place my hands. Remember, if I'm in the squat, hand first, then hips, then knees. Okay? This is how you enter the floor. If you want to push yourself up from that side, pushing with your arm into the squat. Okay? If I want to enter to the right side, right hand, hip, knees. Okay? Pushing back up. So let's maybe practice rolling the spine into the squat, going to one and then other side. So rolling the spine, and let's go to the left side. Left hand gently first, hips, knees, push back into the squat, roll your spine back up. Rolling the spine, head maybe slightly from the right side, entering the floor to the right, placing your right hand first, hips, knees, pushing back. One more time left, rolling the spine. I might change the orientation. So rolling the spine, hand, hips, knees, slightly faster. Pushing back into squat, rolling the spine down, right hand. Nice, making it a bit faster. So whatever you do, try not to sort of hips first, then hand and so on. So always hand first. We're gonna combine this with our last sort of transition, which is very easy and lovely sort of hip extension dominant floor work transition, which is called belly roll. So if I'm landing to the left side, that means I'm going to move to the left side. So if I'm in this position, all I want to do here is reaching like I want to do a push-up. So if I enter the floor to the left side, I'm going to bring my other arm, right arm. Then what I'm going to try to do is go in this position, bending the knees, squeezing my glutes, chest slightly off the floor, and then I want to continue going in this direction. So left leg going over my right one, and now I'm here. So going backwards, almost like I'm doing push-up, belly on the floor, knees bent. Notice the switch of the legs, if you can see. Mid position, and then switching. So if my left knee is on the floor, if I'm going to the left side, if my left knee is facing to the left, doing the transition, mid position, switching the legs, pushing to this side, okay? So now you can already see where this is gonna lead. So rolling the spine down into the squat, smoothly transitioning on the floor, doing the belly roll to the left side, and then you can either reverse going back or you can continue the circle. So how would you continue the circle? If you perform the belly roll to the left, for example, then you can push with your right hand into the squat. Okay, so you're pushing into the squat, and then from there you can lift your hips up, rolling the spine up, or from here you can again simply, without going into the squat, switch your legs again into the first position and perform another belly roll. Okay, So hopefully that's clear. I'm just gonna show you one last time before we starting to play with this. So think about leading with the head, going down into the squat, hands, hips, knees, belly roll, pushing back into the squat, rolling the spine up, and then moving in any direction you wish, okay? So keep switching between sides. We're gonna do, let's say, 3 to 5 reps of this, very slowly. Take your time. Let's go. And come to a stop. Okay, so in our next task, we're gonna focus on single leg again balance, adding a little bit more intensity. So you're gonna have 2 levels, depending on your current level and depending on your strength and mobility. So you have slightly lower level to the floor, where you reach with your free leg, and then you have more horizontal level, which is gonna be harder, okay? So think about this horizontal plane of motion. There's so many different areas where you can point. So what we're gonna do for approximately 1 minute each leg. So think about balancing on single leg, let's say first on right leg. I'm pointing gently, straightening the leg as far as I can in one direction, almost like something is pulling me there. Coming back in the mid position, and then trying other one. Maybe sideways, pulling there, slowly resetting. And then maybe going backwards, make sure you have space behind, going backwards. Maybe some are slightly more to the side, twisting, which is going to be very hard. So you can keep switching, so maybe do one leg, and then switch other leg, other direction, okay? Or you can try to do one leg, then other leg. It's entirely up to you. So we're gonna do this for approximately 1.5 minutes. Really try to challenge your balance, okay? Prepare, let's go. So reaching one direction, back in the middle, or you can do few reps on one side, and then other side. Changing the level, changing the direction, maybe slightly to the side. I'm, for example, doing 2 reps on each leg. So really straightening as much as you can, counterbalancing with your upper body. You can change orientation. Keep going. Notice if there are any areas that you sort of avoid to go. They're really hard. The more awkward, the better. A few more. And come to a stop. Let us move on. Okay, so for our next task, we're gonna come closer to the floor. And now our legs are gonna be completely free in the air. You're gonna go on your shoulders. Remember, not putting too much pressure on your neck, primarily your shoulders and upper back. And ideally, you wanna have your hands supporting your lower back and your pelvis. So basically what you wanna do is getting in this position. I'm just gonna show you from this angle. So we're going first here and then supporting your lower back, sort of creating with your triceps this lovely supported position, okay? So your legs are completely free in the air. So what you're gonna do here now, so think about, you have all this area around yourself where you can explore with your free legs. So for example, moving one leg, it doesn't need to be straight, this is just example, tapping the point here. Moving other leg, tapping the point here, okay? For example, this might be a little bit more heavy, especially if you're not flexible. So moving one leg into hip extension, forwards, and then going back. Or maybe moving both legs slowly from side to side from any random direction. So you're gonna spend some time here. This is gonna be nice prep for sort of our last, more dynamic rolling and maybe even a little bit of handstanding, depending on your level. So really take your time, explore hip extension, so going in this hard part, one leg, other leg, being closer, being further, and so on. Okay, so prepare, ready, and let's give it a go. Support, twist, and come to a stop. So the more you do this one, the easier it gets, especially if you're not flexible in your lower back like me, like some bendy people, especially going into hip extension. But it's a very, very nice and safe way to explore that sort of arching without actually arching too much and with feeling safety with your hand as a support. Okay? So now we're gonna move on. Okay, so our last part is going to include a very small sequence on the floor where you play with limitation. That limitation is going to be hips being up in extension and your feet being in the same position. So hips are here, arms are going to be on the side, and remember you can pivot also on the balls of your feet, okay? So lifting your heels off the floor, as long as your feet stay in the same position. So your arms are gonna follow each other. So there's one arm going down, other one is going up, okay? So this motion. Okay, there's also going to be some side flexion. So maybe before we start this, you can go on the floor and think about this. As I'm keeping my feet in this position, I'm keeping my hips on the floor. Can I, from here, go into side bend and side compression? Sort of piking my hips, reaching my toes, extending, going back here, and then again. So pushing my hips back, almost like I'm pushing myself through my feet as they stay in one position as I pike my hips. So from one side, middle, other side, middle, one side, middle, and other side, middle, okay? So the sequence itself is gonna be this. So hips are gonna be up, arms are gonna be here. So think about if you're going to the left side, your left arm is gonna go under the hips. You're sort of gonna start turning your hips to the one side as you put more load on the shoulder. So this will be step number one. Back in the middle, keeping your hips up, other side, okay? It's already nice, good warm-up, nice, good progression. So one side. Now continue going already further and further with each arm. So rather than stopping here, can you continue the circle while keeping your hips up? So you're basically drawing a full circle. Okay, so from here, mid position, one side. So right arm reaching the left foot, and other way around. So from here, left arm reaching the right foot. Okay, so that's the pattern. Think about this as a nice ab work, rotation. Also nice way to load and condition your shoulders for any floor work, falling in general. It's a nice work, okay? So let's do 5 reps each side. So I think that was a really good cue what I gave you earlier. So think about left arm, right foot, right arm, right hand, left foot. Prepare, and let's give it a go. Keeping your hips up. So you should be only on your shoulder. Let's do one more each side. And come to a stop. So that will be it. Thank you so much for joining me again. Hope you enjoyed this session. As always, subscribe if you like the video. Comment, share, leave any feedback. Always happy to hear about that. So yeah, what I'm planning to continue is with more of this more specific work. Maybe digging a little bit into dance improv floor work. Maybe going further into a little bit of more strength work, and more specific strength work, and so on. But again, any suggestions are more than welcome. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening, and see you soon. Take care.